Hey, folks. Welcome to the Foolish Canuck podcast. I am Chris Timms. I'm your host. Thanks for listening. I hope everything is doing well in your worlds. I hope you're getting everything you want. Summertime is over. Well, it's not technically over, but it's technically over. You know, once you get into September, everyone kind of just summer's done with. So I hope you're all ready for the fall and back to full work schedules and school schedules and whatever it is you're doing. I hope everything's working out for you. This is episode number 2, but the first installment of In the News, where basically I'm joined by a guest and we discuss a bunch of news stories that I've collected. You know, random headlines and stuff. Not the today's headline news, like nothing about Trump or politics. We try to steer away from that. More of like, the odd and unusual stuff. Things that pique my curiosity, things that are weird, stuff like that. Today I'm joined by my lady friend Katie, and we just discuss a bunch of stuff from someone pissing on potatoes to a dude, who has like way too many teeth, a 50-year-old baby, a 10-year-old charged with assault, a bunch of stuff. And if you end up enjoying, these podcasts, the In the News podcasts, you can send us your news stories that you come across and you think are weird and we haven't talked about. Go to foolishcanuck.com, hit the contact page, and fire us off the links. Leave a little comment about your thoughts on the article as well, and we'll include it all into the podcast. So we'll do a thing at the end of the episodes or whatever that we'll go, listeners' headlines or something like that, and we'll get you guys involved and gals and whoever. Got to be careful nowadays. Got to be careful. Can't just drop the guys comment like you used to. It offends people. I'll try to do my best. Our goal with this podcast is not to offend anybody, but we most certainly will. So that being said, just know it's not our intention necessarily. And if it is our intention, we'll make it clear that we are trying to offend you. That being said, I hope you enjoy this episode, guys. Like I said, it's the first time we're doing this. It's the first time my lady friend is talking on a mic for a podcast as well. So we're just stretching our legs. We're getting used to the rhythm of it all. I hope you enjoy again. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk. I guess you're going to listen to this podcast. See, I was about to wrap this up like it was like the end of a podcast because I'm doing this little intro thing. But it's clearly not the end of the podcast because now I'm queuing up a podcast. I got to work on this, guys. I need some practice. The format for these might change. I might just do the whole thing when we do the episode rather than doing these intro things, but we'll see what happens. For now, this is how it is. So without further ado, let's just get into it. Enjoy episode number 2, the first installment of In the News. Cheers. And we're recording. So this is it. This is the first news, In the News podcast where I talk about read some articles that I've collected over the past few weeks and, share some stories that aren't like the big stories of the day. They're not politics. They aren't about Trump. They're weird things. They're unusual things. Some of them are frightening. Some of them are playful. Just stuff I think people should know, or stuff I found interesting that maybe people don't need to know, but they will if they listen to this podcast. And joining me today is my lovely lady friend, Katie. Hello, Katie.
Hello, Chris.
All right. So this is the first one. We're kind of figuring this out. We're growing our legs here. And I figure we'll just jump in to a story, and I'll read the story, and we'll talk about it. So here, we'll start with this one. The headline is, Boy, 10, charged after classmate hit in the face with a ball. A 10-year-old suburban Detroit boy was charged with aggravated assault after hitting a 9-year-old classmate in the face with a rubber ball similar to a dodgeball. This is like already problematic right here for me. Like, really, you can't, like, I understand kids play games and kids can be cruel, but It's a fucking ball, and he's 10.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office says students at a Canton Township school were playing tips. I don't know what tips are. April 29th. Oh, here they're going to tell us what tips is.
Okay.
In which participants jump to catch a ball that's tossed upwards. I guess like it's play off the opening of a basketball game where they do the tip off.
Right.
The guy
Oh,
jumps
okay.
up
Yeah.
But it's, I guess, a bunch of kids that jump up in the air and do this.
Okay.
Right? Prosecutors say the game ended and the older boy threw the ball with force, causing his classmate to suffer concussion and abrasions. The older boy's mother says in a written statement, the only thing her son is guilty of is being a black boy. The injured boy's race wasn't available. Well, clearly, if the mother says he's guilty, oh, no, the injured boy's race wasn't available. Sorry, I thought I misread that. Well, I'm guessing it's a white kid.
Probably not a black kid.
Yeah. Anyway, so the prosecutor's spokeswoman, Maria Miller, says the charges are not based on race. A Thursday appearance in juvenile court is scheduled. But, like, I don't know. Do you not think that there's a better way to handle this than sending this kid through the system?
Well, they're 10, right?
Yeah, well, he was the older boy at 10 years old.
They don't say how young the younger boy was?
No.
Doesn't matter, I don't think.
I don't think it matters at all. It's like you have a young kid. It's kids will be kids. You know, sometimes things happen, and that's how I know you need to have repercussions for things, but you need to have those kinds of repercussions for things.
Well, then it's like, does every kid that hits another kid a little too hard in dodgeball start going through the system? Like, do we just stop playing dodgeball altogether?
Well, yes, actually. As a matter of fact, that's exactly what they're doing. Schools are abandoning dodgeball.
Right. Okay.
So I guess, that's gone. But I think so. The reason why I put this story down is because it reminded me of a time when I was a kid. I think it was in grade, I want to say, it's got to be post grade 4, pre grade 6, probably grade 5, late grade 4, something like this. I was playing in the schoolyard and a kid kicked me and I kicked the ball back at him and hit him in the dick.
Right.
And then I proceeded to call him a trout sniffer.
Okay.
I was then in the principal's office and they were threatening all kinds of disciplinary action and accusing me of racism because I was a white kid and he was an Arab kid. And I called him a trout sniffer, which I didn't realize was a touchy subject in Arab countries. I learnt of it from Home Alone when Kevin McAllister called his older brother Buzz a trout sniffer.
Right.
So that was, but they made it this huge thing because they're like, oh no, a white kid hurt a colored kid. We need to make this whole, So I guess it's opposite. Like they're blaming the black kid in this situation. That's also taking place in the United States. We live in Canada where we're overly progressive on certain things, right?
Right. Yeah.
Almost to a fault. But I was thinking about it. I was like, but all that needed to happen there was you have the kids and you go, what you did was wrong. Like, he was hurt. Like you talk to them, talk to the kids, and you should probably force them to do something together.
Right.
Don't separate them. Don't prosecute the other one. Don't fuel the hatred from one kid to another kid.
Right. Well, I guess too, like people just don't talk to anyone anymore, right? The teacher that said this was assault, or the parent that did, at that point the teacher's like, well, I don't want to deal with this, so I'm just going to pass it on to the next person that will. And unfortunately in this case the next person is like the law, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The other problem too is like you have to think of the parents are somewhat to blame because no one's child is wrong.
No.
Right? So like that older boy could very well be in the wrong. I'm not exonerating him from potentially hurting this other kid.
Yeah, or having the intent to hurt him, right?
But I don't think it was like they call it aggravated assault.
Right.
I wouldn't classify schoolyard roughhousing aggravated assault.
No.
Which is exactly what this is to me.
Well, and I think too, you're putting the same kids in four walls every day. I mean, they have to learn how to, get along. They also have to learn how to not to get along with people, right?
And then how do you proceed forward from that?
Right, exactly. If you just keep passing it off outside of the system, you're never teaching people how to function within that system, right?
Totally agree. I totally agree.
So we agree that this kid was not aggravatedly assaulted.
No, granted, this is a very short article, so we don't have a lot of the information here. But based on the information we do have, I think it's a waste of the court's times, which I guess would be like taxpayers' dollars.
Mhm.
And I think it's a waste of the child's and the parents' time. Um,
Everyone's time. I mean, like, what happens? This kid, let's say, can he have a record? So he
well,
gets
being a juvenile, he would until. Well, actually, I don't know how it works in the United States. I know in Canada, your juvenile record goes away. I'm pretty sure at some point. Like it doesn't stay on your permanent record.
right.
Like
So let's say it's like at 16. So from like 10 to 16, he has a criminal record. So let's say at 16 he applies for a job, right? And for some reason it's 6 months into his 16th birthday
oh yeah,
that his
absolutely.
record. And they ask him, do you have a record? And he's like, yeah, for throwing a dodge or not a dodgeball, sorry, in this case, but for throwing a ball at someone.
Yeah.
So now he's unemployable. Now we like we've already decided that he's not going to be successful in society by, like you said, just not sitting down and
Well,
talking with him.
If it's even the case where they look him up, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't even get the opportunity to explain himself.
Right.
You just see that he's been a problem since he was a youth.
When maybe this is the only thing he ever did.
Exactly.
And learned from it and like was better about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. We'll move on to the next story. Let's see here. All right. What do we got? Do you want another child story? Do you want here's this one. Here's this one here. Christian couples guru, now divorcing, is sorry for bigotry. This is good. This has like a lot of elements. This was kind of one of the upper main headlines. It didn't make it to like the main headlines, but it was like also trending. A former relationship guru and mega church pastor who advocated premarital purity in his million-selling 1997 book, I Kissed Dating Goodbye, now says he is not a Christian, and he hopes gay people will forgive him for contributing to a culture of exclusion and bigotry.
Okay. I didn't see it going like this way.
So this is his quote. I have undergone a massive shift in regard to my faith in Jesus. By all the measurements that I have for defining a Christian, I am not a Christian.
Okay.
That's end quote. So Harris posted this explanation Friday on his Instagram, where he announced earlier in July that he and his wife Shannon are divorcing. Harris quit as senior pastor at the Covenant Life Church in Maryland in 2015, renounced his bestseller, and moved to Canada. He's our problem now. Great. Fucking awesome. Well, I mean, I'll take more atheists here, I suppose, right? Like if he's not bringing his mega church nonsense, he's leaving that in the South, and good on him. He's not gonna anyway.
He's safe here.
I guess so. Anyway, here's a quote. That's our cat in the background. Just wanting to say hello if you guys picked that up. Okay, so I have lived in repentance for the past several years, he wrote. Repenting of my self-righteousness, my fear-based approach to life, the teaching of my books, my views of women in the church, and my approach to parenting, to name a few. But I specifically want to add to this list to the LGBTQ plus community. I want to say that I am sorry for the views that I taught in my books and as a pastor regarding sexuality. I regret standing against marriage equality, for not affirming you and your place in the church, and for any ways that my writing and speaking contributed to a culture of exclusion and bigotry. I hope you can forgive me. I suspect this man is gay.
This is a Christian coming out of the closet.
I think so.
So like, yeah,
Which
this
is good on
this
him.
is exactly how Christians come out of the closet.
Yeah. Well, usually they come out of the closet after getting caught blowing some guy in a truck stop bathroom.
But like, this is like
This is the proper
this
way,
is like
perhaps?
a feel good way of coming out of the closet. Like, yes, welcome to our side where everything can just be, just be.
Yeah.
Mm.
Jesus Christ. He has like a... he has this whole post here on they included from Instagram that I don't know if I should read it. But yeah, there's no more to the article. Okay, we're going to read this. My heart is full of gratitude. I wish you could see all the messages people sent me after the announcement of my divorce. They are expressions of love, though they are saddened or even strongly disapprove of the decision. I am learning that no group has the market conquered on grace. This week, I've received grace from Christians, atheists, evangelicals. He wrote it twice, so he really got, straight people, LGBTQ people, and everyone in between. Of course, there have also been strong words of rebuke from religious people. While not always pleasant, I know they are seeking to love me. On his chest. There have also been spiteful, hateful comments that angered and hurt me. The information that was left out of our announcement is that I have undergone a massive shift in regard to my faith in Jesus. The popular phrase for this is deconstruction. The biblical phrase is falling away. Biblical. By all the measurements that I have for defining a Christian, I am not a Christian. Many people tell me that there is a different way to practice faith, and I want to remain open to this, but I am not there now. Martin Luther said that the entire life of believers should be repentance. There's beauty in that sentiment, regardless of how you view God. I have lived in repentance for the past several years, repenting of my self-righteousness, my fear-based approach to life, my teachings and my books. I already read this. My views of women in the church, and to approach parenting, to name a few. But I specifically want to add the LGBTQ plus community.
Okay, yeah.
To my Christian friends, I am grateful for your prayers. Don't take it personally if I didn't immediately return your calls. I can't join you in your mourning. I don't view this moment negatively. I feel very much alive and awake and surprisingly hopeful. I believe with my sister Julian that all shall be well, and all a manner of things shall be well. Anyway, there he is. He's now living a new, beautiful life with his sister Julian in Canada. Anyway, I thought this was a good story. I mean,
he left his cult.
It's not every day that someone as prominent, like I've never heard of this guy before, but clearly he had a mega church and was a best-selling Christian author and stuff.
Yeah.
So he was like, I'm sure he was known in the realm of that.
Right.
So it's a big deal. I think it's important for people like him to speak about these things. And he did it, I felt, in a relatively eloquent way. I still suspect he might be gay, which is nothing wrong with that. But just come out and say it, man. Just do it.
One step at a time.
I agree. He's taken two now, though. He's renounced his faith and moved to Canada. Do you think he moved to Canada then renounced his? I guess so, right? Yeah, it's what it seems like. If I'm looking at the timeline, which there's, it's rough information here, but it seems like, well, he quit being pastor in 2015. Doesn't say when he moved to Canada, but he lives in Canada now, and now he came out renouncing.
Yeah, Canada probably came first.
Yeah, it's like I need to get to the safety. They don't have
because
handguns.
Canada came, and then we were like, hey, there's a whole bunch of things you can believe, not just one thing, or you can choose to believe nothing. And then he renounced his faith, but he's not quite ready to.
Well, I don't think Canada had any factor on that. I think Canada was a safety issue.
Right.
Like I genuinely think, religious people are devout, right? So if he ran, so if you think of it like this, so people who run these mega churches in the United States, and I'm pretty sure we have a few here in Canada, they take in millions and millions and millions of dollars of their followers' money, and it makes their lives very prosperous. They they live a high life. One of these fucking guys, I forget his name, but he's a fucking prick. He had his people donating because Jesus wanted him to have. He already had a private plane. He had like a couple private planes, but Jesus wanted him to have the newer, best plane because their pasture should not suffer the.
Because Jesus knew about that technology.
Exactly. No, but Jesus speaks to him, right? So that's why they go to his mega church, because then he relays the voice of God and Jesus to them. And apparently Jesus was like, he needs a fucking plane. So I would like to, I theorize that this guy, mega church dude, he's the pastor. He's like, give me your dollars and I'll cure your ailments,
Right.
And people probably gave, like, there's stories out there of people giving their fucking life savings, their fortunes, right?
Did they say this guy? Oh, no, he's Christian. So he's probably, well, they don't say his background, right? Like his race?
Well, he's white. I'm looking at a picture of the guy.
Oh, okay.
He's a white guy.
Oh, okay. Oh, and he's not like weird looking.
No, he looks like
you need to be showing me the pictures of these things, I think.
He looks like he'd be living in the glebe.
Yeah, or like driving Uber.
Yeah, he's definitely has like a hipster. He's bald with a beard.
Yeah.
You know. Again, if you
I thought he was gonna be some old dude.
all the
He has plenty of like if he figures out if he's gay or straight or whatever,
But
he's
this
gonna
is the
be
thing.
riding for a while.
but yeah, like,
He's got some life left.
He definitely has this like
Oh yeah, I see. Mountain-esque guy. Was that his sister?
yeah. So no, that's him and his ex-wife.
Oh.
Yeah. We're share the news. We're separating. We continue our life together as friends.
That's definitely that's a pretty good we're getting separated photo. No one's quite like super happy,
Yeah.
but they're content.
The other thing too is like I know this is a weird thing to say, but he doesn't look like a Christian.
No.
Not in this photo.
No.
This one he looks kind of creepy Christian-y.
Yeah.
You know, he's like
Yeah.
that hip Christian that shaved his head and grew a beard, and he's like, "Hey, I'm like Moses, but you know, with
Right.
no hair." And anyway.
Here's a fun fact. I've been to a Christian death metal concert.
There you go.
Not necessarily by choice, just by support.
Is that like an oxymoron though?
No,
Christian
no.
death metal.
I guess Christian alive metal. I don't
So
know.
is it like Christian death metal? I imagine. I know there's already a band, 9 Inch Nails, but I'd imagine
yeah.
something to do with hammering in some wood. You know?
Yeah, something like that. You can't really understand. They just scream a lot.
Well, that's generally that kind of metal. Like I don't.
And you
I'm not
can
a death
buy chips and soda.
Jesus loves you. Jesus loves
Yeah,
you. Jesus loves you. Jesus loves you.
Basically.
Jesus
like
Christ.
basically.
Yeah, I have a feeling that this gentleman here, what's his name? Jesus Christ. Harris.
It's not Jesus Christ.
Josh Harris. I believe he doesn't listen to that kind of music. I believe he looks like a guy who has a decent taste in music. Unless he
Yeah.
listens to electronica, then he could probably go fuck himself, which he can do now, not with any fucking worry about God.
Right.
So that's good.
Yep.
So good for
There's
him.
going to be a lot of firsts for this guy.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he's already broken a lot of cherries in that regard. Like, I'm pretty sure that's what led to one, his divorce.
Right, like he's like
Two, him leaving the church.
he's like there's got to be a way where I can do this stuff and not feel bad about it every day.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I just need to get out.
I got all this money, but like, what can money do? Oh, I know. If I move to Canada,
Yeah.
I can keep my money. I don't really have to worry about any of these nut jobs in Maryland coming to shoot me.
Yep.
And then I can renounce my faith. Say it's
No
cool
more
to be gay.
Yeah, no more Hail Marys for this
and
guy.
I would love it if I came out that he was gender or sexually fluid.
He looks fluid.
He looks fluid. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a dolphin. I don't know. I don't know why I said he looks like a dolphin. He
No.
doesn't, but
We
I just picture him if he was naked. It was like that.
Why?
No.
This is not where we want this to be going.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm not going to picture him naked. All right, next story.
We don't need that. Unnecessary.
Okay, what do we got here? Okay.
Let the people go find pictures of him and picture him naked for themselves.
Well, they'll be able to do that. The links will be in
I
the
know,
description. Okay, here's this one. This one's cute. Woman charged after allegedly urinating on Walmart potatoes.
Nice.
Yeah, I saw this one and I was like, "Oh, that's great." Woman pisses on potato.
Allegedly is my favorite word in that sentence.
Yeah.
Like, how do you allegedly?
Well, let's find out.
Yeah.
Let's find out. Okay, so a woman in Pennsylvania who was sought by police after allegedly urinating on potatoes at a local Walmart has turned herself in.
Oh.
All right.
God damn it. I still wanted like the potato peer to be at large.
Okay, so officers were called to a Walmart in West Mifflin, Pennsylvania, a suburb south of Pittsburgh, on the morning of July 25th, following reports that an employee noticed urine on the floor in the produce section near the potatoes. Upon review of security footage, officers noticed a woman who was urinating in the potato bins the night prior.
So like a worker? We'll find out. So.
No, well, it doesn't say, but still, it's just so urine sat in that produce section from the night until the following morning. Like they closed up shop, they went home, and these potatoes were just marinating in this woman's urine.
Yeah. We'll see. Maybe my point will be mute, so I'll let you continue reading.
In an update released on Tuesday, police said that officers later identified the 20-year-old suspect and made contact with her. She then turned herself in alongside with her lawyer.
Oh God.
The woman has been charged with criminal mischief, open lewdness, that's to say it mildly, disorderly conduct, and public drunkenness.
Oh, she was drunk.
Yeah.
Peeing in
So,
potatoes. But she got it. She timed it though. Like she peed, and apparently the cleaning and everything had already been done for the night.
so I want to be honest with these listeners in the internet world and land. I don't know if I've told you this. I think there's maybe one other human being on the planet that knows this story to a fact. So I saw this story, and initially I was like, "A woman pisses on potatoes at Walmart. That's hilarious, right?" And then I read the story, and there's elements to this story that oddly hit home for me, Katie. You see, this woman, they mentioned she's drunk, and it was nighttime, right?
Right. Yeah.
So she's also 20 years old. I was 20 years old and drunk in my life. Hell, I started drinking in bars when I was like 15. So I have done things throughout my life that I'm not necessarily proud of. But I have been in a Mac's convenience store in the west coast of this country at 3 a.m, hammered, trying to take money out of an ATM. And the moment arose where I either pull my dick out and piss right here or I'm pissing my pants.
Right.
So it comes down to a matter of survival in this moment. Like, do I want to leave this store with pissed pants and walk home the rest of the way or wherever I was going full of piss? Or am I going to risk it, just risk it all, whip it out, lean against this ATM machine and just let it go right here? Because that's like, those were the only two options.
What was around the ATM? Like normally they have like soda or a garbage bin.
I was thoughtful to a certain extent. So there was like a hallway that went to like the other, like not a hallway, but like it went around to like the glass doors kind of thing. But it was the glass doors and then like the wall.
Right.
So I pissed up along the wall. So it would just go along the wall and trickle down the floor, and it was very unnoticeable.
Right.
Right. But I have previous experience with this Mac. So people are probably listening like, why the hell didn't you just ask him to use the fucking bathroom? Because I have in the past in that Max, and they had said no. Bathrooms are for customers only. A lot of homeless people in this area. Yeah. And so they don't allow anybody, even if I'm a paying customer, especially a shit-faced paying customer. They're not going to let me use their bathroom. I should have tried to. I wasn't going to make it. Like it was coming. So I let it go on the. So I'm looking at this.
Did they see you?
No one caught me. To this day, this is the first time. So out there's probably some like Indian dude who's working at a Mac's. I'm not going to say where. I'll say in the west coast of Canada. And he had to mop up urine that night. Probably blamed it on a homeless person. So I'm going to apologize to this nice Indian man. And I'm going to apologize to the homeless person that probably got blamed for my urine. But so what my point is, what I'm trying to say is I can relate to this woman. I can understand there may be a circumstance where pissing on potatoes might be your only option.
I guess she figured the potatoes would hide it.
Well, she said they pissed on the bin of potatoes, or like in the bin of potatoes. So being a woman, right, she was probably able to squat down on the bin.
Yeah, just kind of like,
And give her hell.
Yeah.
Right? It's definitely easier to piss in a store as a man than it is a woman, but she fucking did it.
I've never pissed like inside of a place. Outside. Like outside, it's always the Walmart too. Outside the Walmart, near the bus station. Took a pee out there.
Yeah, outside it's like it doesn't matter.
Parking garage behind the car.
Yeah, see that doesn't. It's the inside
it's risky,
of the building.
But it's like the inside. I think I've peed in a garbage can once at a laundromat.
Oh, that's lovely. I had a drunk person,
but I was super little
when I was working. Yeah, well, if you're a kid, that's different. I
sometimes like. When you see little kids pee, it's like it doesn't count pee. It's like little kid pee.
I don't want to see a kid pee.
But like if you
it counts. I don't need to see that.
I know.
I'm not going to see a kid. You know, that's probably why priests and so many people get in trouble because they see a little kid and they're like, oh, it's just a kid. It doesn't count.
Right. Well, I somehow like the kid pee is less innocent or is more innocent than like a man standing and like spraying all over the side of a building.
Well, definitely when you say it like that. But I'm also
the little kid's just like, I gotta pee.
But
Little
put it
man.
this way: if someone had a gun to your head,
You had to watch someone?
no, and they were like, "You're gonna drink this man's piss
Yeah.
or this kid's piss,"
Yeah.
I'd probably drink the kid's piss.
Yes, exactly. That's
That's the point you were trying to get.
yeah,
at.
that it's
This
less
is
offensive.
an interesting podcast.
Yeah.
All right.
Kids piss.
So I don't know what's going to happen with this woman. I agree with her charges and the charges against her. And,
what are they again?
Criminal mischief, open lewdness, shit, pissing in public. Pissing in a Walmart is pretty lewd. Disorderly conduct and public drunkenness. My only thing is I think like public drunkenness kind of sums it all up.
Yeah.
Or disorderly conduct sums it all up. Open lewdness sums it all up. I don't think, depending on the scenario. Now, if it turns out this woman's like, fuck these potatoes.
Yeah.
And like
These
just
were
pissed in the
97
potato.
cents last week.
Yeah, fuck you. Psst, and just sprays like she's a cat or something. Like, these are mine.
We're like, these are nobody's. Nobody's having these.
Then fuck that lady. And she should be charged with everything you can charge her with.
I don't think public drunkenness needs to be a charge if you've got all these other things. Clearly, you're drunk in public.
But I just don't think public drunkenness should be a charge because
Yeah.
getting drunk is legal.
Yes.
You can go out to somewhere in public that sells alcohol,
Yes.
and then you leave, and now you're breaking. Like, it does.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Public drunkenness doesn't make any sense. Again, Americans are silly folks, but yeah. So anyway, I understand. I felt this woman's plight. So depending on her motivations, which we'll probably never know.
I want to know now, though.
I can sympathize with this one. I can.
If anyone knows this woman,
Yeah.
or if this woman is listening,
Mifflin, Pennsylvania, please contact, go
Tell
to
us her
foolishcanuck.com. I'd love to know if it was a matter of, I'm going to piss my pants
Yeah.
or I'm pissing on the potatoes. Because if that's your dilemma, piss on the potatoes, my dear.
yes, or the like out of spite.
Yeah. And like, I would say piss on the potatoes and then probably tell someone so that it doesn't sit there overnight. But I also understand the hesitation of telling someone, but maybe you could leave a note.
Yo, dude, there's piss on the potatoes.
Someone pissed on those potatoes. And then just leave.
The guy would just be like, "What the fuck? Like, this is the worst day of my life. Like, this is my worst job ever."
Yeah, exactly. So
Like,
anyway, if you're going to piss on potatoes, just make sure it's justifiable. I guess that's what the moral of that story. Oh, man. Okay. Walmart potatoes.
these are good stories.
Yeah, well, see, they make me laugh. And then I'm like, okay, well, we should keep these. Okay, here's one. Here's one from Edmonton. Try to, bring it close to home here. What? It's not what it... This isn't it. Free tuition for kids? No, it's not the... Someone broke in and did laundry. How is this story like... All right, well, I just found it like a glitch in the
Matrix.
plan here. So what I did is, like, as I'm collecting these, I took the links to the stories, and then I was saving the links, right? And so I clicked on the link to the story. And even in the link, it says, leave note, Edmonton BreakIn. But it's not coming up. It's coming up some other story.
Okay, well, we can pick another one.
I guess we'll have to pick another one. That was sad. That was a good story. I can give you the gist of the story. So these people were rented an Airbnb, and then they went out, and while they were out, someone broke in and like stole their clothes. But they stole their clothes and like to put on, and then washed their clothes. Like the thieves washed their own clothes that was in the washing machine, and then left.
Okay.
And then when the people who were renting the Airbnb came back, there was heavy metal music blaring. Their clothes were gone, like an outfit of each.
Yeah.
And someone's random's clothes was in the washing machine.
So they like traded.
Kind of, yeah. So they managed to look at security footage in like the lobby,
Mhm.
and they saw the people leaving wearing the people's clothing.
That's kind
And
of
then
like
they were like investigators, or the investigation continues, or whatever. So like there wasn't a lot of answers yet, but I found it very interesting. Like, what's the scenario in which that happens?
or is that like your thing? Like, is that your thing? You go and rob people's clothing and then leave yours behind.
Like you just buy like some shitty cheap clothing from like Giant Tiger or
well,
something.
Well, no, because basically you're just like you're constantly funding your cause, I guess is the best way to say it. Like you're stealing someone else's clothes in the same size as you, hopefully. Then you're gonna go leave those person's clothes at the next person's place and steal their. So you're just like passing clothes around, really.
Yeah, it's weird.
Clean clothes,
Yeah, well, they're washing.
fresh out of the laundry.
Well, now you got to put them in the dryer though.
Oh,
They're making you work.
yeah,
a
they're
little.
not gonna wait. Good way to get
like the
caught.
heavy metal music. So my theory is they were there, they had the metal music going, and they saw these people returning, and they fucked off. Like maybe they were just homeless people, broke
Right.
in, washed their clothes, put on the other people's clothes while they were washing their clothes. I don't know. It's just a weird. I don't know. That was a weird one.
The washing the clothes part is the weird part.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Maybe though, if you don't have those amenities and you have access to them, like let's say they are homeless, then like that's a fun thing. That's like something you want to do.
But that's okay. But breaking into someone's house is not like generally a leisurely endeavor.
No, I know.
It's like okay, get in, get stuff, get the fuck out, right? We
Right.
don't know when these people are coming back. And Airbnb makes it even more like you don't know. It's hard to know. These people are vacationers, so they could be coming or going, and you have no idea what's going on.
You don't know, but easier to rob because different people.
Yeah,
are
but
always
why are you doing laundry? You can't rob them if you like. Oh, we're just gonna hang out here for a while, do laundry, download some tunes, or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Maybe that's their thing. That is the motivation. Those two things.
All right. Well, so what you're saying is I'm gonna have to do some research to see if there's some more of these stores and if there's serial break-in enters, washing laundryers.
Yes.
Okay. Next story. Doctors find 526 teeth in boy's mouth in India.
Were they his own,
Yes.
or just like random
Yes,
teeth
they
he
were
was
his.
carried around?
It's like a fucking squirrel. It's like
He's the tooth fairy.
the chipmunk full of teeth. Anyway, a 7-year-old boy complaining of jaw pain was found to have 526 teeth inside his mouth, according to a hospital in India where he's treated. I've had extra teeth removed from my mouth. I've had lots of dental work, extensively. Yeah, I think right now I have about almost $30-some thousand worth of fake teeth and dental work and teeth pulls and fucking root canals and all that jazz. 526 teeth.
But like at 7. So did you just never?
There's the X-ray here. Again, guys, if you want to check out the X-ray, go to the description and click the link.
It just looks like a cave with things hanging down from it.
Yeah, I forget what those things are
Yeah,
called, but yeah, that's exactly it.
Like in Super Mario or whatever, right? They
Yes.
fall down.
Yeah.
Yeah, those things.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looks like. And a bunch of rocks you need to climb over.
But like, that's fucked up, man. That's a lot of fucking teeth.
Do you just save any? Like, do you just pull them all out
Well, yeah.
and start from scratch?
Fuck the tooth fairy that night, eh?
Yeah. He's
So,
okay. He's in India. I don't think they have tooth fairies.
They have like 1,000 different kinds of fairies in India. I'm sure they have a tooth fairy. One of Ganesh's arms is probably the tooth fairy. No, I'm kidding. That was insensitive of me. If you are a Hindu, I apologize. We live in a climate where I gotta apologize, Katie. All right, let's make fun of this 7-year-old boy now.
Can I see the non?
Well, hang
X-ray?
on. Let me read the article and then we'll get to it. Okay, easy.
Okay. Teeth made me excited.
The boy was admitted last month to the southern city of Chennai because of swelling and pain near his molars in his lower right jaw. When doctors scanned and x-rayed his mouth, they found a sac embedded in his lower jaw filled with abnormal teeth. Ugh. Dr. Pratibha Ramani, the head of oral and facial pathology at Savitha Dental College and Hospital. Hopefully I get better at reading things. While the surgery to remove the teeth took place last month, doctors needed time to individually examine each tooth before they confirmed their findings. After discovering the sac, 2 surgeons removed it from the boy's mouth. Then Ramani's team took 4 to 5 hours to empty the sac to confirm its contents and discovered the hundreds of teeth.
Oh.
Ugh. There were a total of 526 teeth, ranging from 0.1 millimeters, that's like 0.004 inches, to 15 millimeters, 0.6 of an inch.
Jesus.
Even the smallest piece had a crown, root, and enamel coat Oh, indicating that it was a tooth. Jesus Christ. That's 506 roots. 26. The boy was released 3 days after the surgery and is expected to make a full recovery. Awesome. Romani said the boy was suffering from a very rare condition called compound composite odontoma. She said what was caused the condition is unclear, but it could be genetic or it could be due to environmental factors like radiation.
That sounds a little radiation-y to me. Not
because I think if it was genetic, they would have been like, "Yo, your grandpa had 600 teeth.
Right.
Your grandpa was a fucking shark." The boy actually may have had the extra teeth for some time. His parents told doctors that they had noticed swelling in his jaw when he was young as 3, but they couldn't do much about it because he would not stay still or allow doctors to examine him. Dr. P. P.S., head of the hospital oral and maxillofacial surgery department, and one of 2 surgeons who operated on the boy, detailed the procedure to CNN. Under general anesthesia, we drilled into the jaw from the top. We did not break the bone from the sides, meaning reconstruction surgery was not required. The sac was removed. You can think of it kind of as like a balloon with small pieces inside.
Ew.
Dr. S said the discovery showed it was important to seek treatment for dental issues as early as possible. Awareness about dental and ortho health was improving, he said, though access in rural areas remained problematic. Earlier, things like not as many dentists, lack of education, poverty meant there was not as much awareness. These problems are still there. You can see people in cities have better awareness, but people who are in rural areas are not as educated or able to afford good dental health. Mm-hmm. In this young man's case, all has turned out well. The boy is now healthy with a count of 21 teeth. Good for him.
That's a lot of teeth.
That's too many teeth.
I wonder if they'll use those teeth to like make dentures and stuff now.
That's an interesting idea, eh? I don't think so. Those teeth are probably going to be studied.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know how many people get 526 teeth, but it can't be that common.
This is the first I've heard of it.
Likewise. Yeah.
Like sometimes you see people with that one tooth, that's growing out of the.
I had a snaggle tooth right in the front.
Yeah, that's like growing over top of the other one.
You can say it. It's okay.
But like that's all I've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't know. That's fucked up.
And then at any point did he lose teeth? You know what I mean? Like, or did he just keep getting teeth?
I know he's 7, so I'm assuming he's losing teeth, right?
Yeah, because if he wasn't, then hopefully that would have been addressed.
Yeah, but like if you think about it, though, these things have been developing since he was 3. Like, that's what they say, right?
Yeah. And they all had roots, and they were all like teeth, not like
enamels and crowns. Yeah, they weren't like 2B teeth.
Yeah.
Fucked up. I had a few extra teeth. So in the back, when they removed my wisdom teeth, I had extra teeth that they thought would come in. They haven't. They're still in my gums. But when they removed, they figured that my other teeth would come in and replace that area because I'm missing back teeth.
Yeah.
But they never did. They stayed in my gums. So I still have 2 extra teeth. But they don't bother me.
At least like these were contained. Just one. Like,
in one sack.
Yeah, just take that out. That's lucky at least.
That's very lucky. Although, that being said, I would assume like not all of them are in the one sack. Because like if you look at the upper part of his mouth and the lower part of his mouth, there's a few down here. Like I would assume the sack is up here.
Yeah.
And then you got these few stragglers down here. Ugh. Anyway. I've been going through a lot of dental stuff, so this one kind of hit home for me as well.
No radiation though.
No radiation.
Not near.
I would assume it's radiation.
Yes. In the drinking water or something, maybe.
Well, I don't know about the drinking water, but if they have like, I don't know if you've seen some of these like Indian cities with the way that their power grids are set up. And, like it's like you got like fucking pounds of wires, like just laced over top of each other. It's like so unsafe, and you have all these massive electrical grids that almost makes a roof over some of the streets. and they all
okay.
connect to like some nuclear power plants that might not be as they're improving. Like they're building these new cities now in India that are like from the ground up cities.
Mhm.
They're going to be completely, self-sufficient, e-friendly, but it doesn't affect the fact that they're old cities and their infrastructure is so it's deteriorating in such a rate that it's obviously not sustainable for the population, right?
Are they doing the thing where like they build the new city, X number of I guess miles in their case, but kilometers away, and then they just like all those people from that old city, like that's their new house, and they're just abandoning that.
That's kind of the plan.
Okay.
So China had tried that before, and now you have these like replicas of Paris and stuff. So they're trying,
Yeah.
but they're vacant.
Okay.
People didn't move, so they're hoping. I think they're doing some type of incentives or whatever in Japan. But yeah, they're building these cities from the ground up, and then you move into them.
Yeah.
So they'll have everything will be there. How amazing would that be though? Like living. I was talking to the Uber driver the other day. Like it's like everything's always under construction. Like they're gonna be tearing down this road, and rebuilding this bridge. And it's gonna be closed from August till next May, which is gonna be very inconvenient for me. But it's just like the same thing when I go to Toronto to perform at Absolute, where the condo is. For the past 7 years, that whole area has been under construction. It's just like I don't know that neighborhood without it being under construction.
Yeah.
In 7 years, right? Like just once, I would like to walk into a city and be like, "Oh, it's done.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah.
There's nothing. Let's just enjoy the city."
Right.
So when I see these city like Dubai does this, India's doing this, China's done it, where they just build the whole city from the ground up, and then everything's done. You can just have people move in. I love that idea. I think it's great because then you can go in and enjoy your fucking city. You don't have to worry about delays because of this. So you need this work project or that work project, and
Yeah.
it's definitely you take it. Excuse me. Take a different approach at society to do that because a lot of this construction is jobs, right? Like you need jobs. So, what's construction project can we do, or what infrastructure thing can we do to create jobs? So you have like the widening of the 417 through Ottawa, which the city didn't want, but the Ontario government was like, no, it's jobs.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. All that from teeth.
Teeth.
Okay, we're running down the gambit here. Okay, we're just gonna do this one. Because this one's really fucked up. Missouri man says he found a baby's body in his mother's freezer. Strap on, folks. I guess I should have said trigger warning before this one, eh? If you're sensitive, folks, earmuffs. Adam Smith said he's known about the white cord. Okay, this story's fucked up. Okay, I've read it 3 times. Anyway, Adam Smith has said he's known about the white cardboard box in his mother's freezer his entire life. He assumed it was holding a wedding cake topper or another memento that his mother was holding on to and left it at that. That's what he told CNN. Now he knows that what was really in the box, and he said he is struggling to comprehend how she kept it to herself all these years. Smith, 37 years old, called police earlier Sunday morning and reported finding a dead infant in the box. There's a picture of the box if you want to. There's no baby in it, but.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
St. Louis police said they are investigating the discovery of a suspicious death pending an autopsy and asked public for tips. The St. Louis Medical Examiner's Office said the investigation is ongoing and would not share details. The white cardboard box was wrapped in garbage bags, Smith told CNN. It was the size of about it was the size of a boot shoebox, and had been in his mother's freezer for as long as he can recall. I remember being curious as a small child. I remember trying to grab at a stool and rip through the plastic, Smith told CNN. Other than that, I never touched it. I remember it traveled with his mother to 4 different homes in St. Louis. Oh, man. Including the apartment on Magnolia Avenue where she lived for 25 years until her death. After she was diagnosed with lung cancer in January, Smith had said he moved in with her to help care for her. She died on the 21st of July. Then early Sunday morning, Smith said he went to the freezer to get a water bottle and decided to open the box. I still believed the box to contain a wedding cake topper. That's just what I assumed, Smith said. And you know what? Just to add a double fucked up layer to this, maybe it was a wedding cake topper.
Yeah.
Okay, so he grabbed a kitchen knife and cut through the plastic, then opened the box and he saw a pink fleece baby blanket and reached inside. Smith said he felt a foot on little toes. The blanket unraveled a little bit, and he saw the baby's foot. As he tucked the fleece back inside, he saw the hair of an infant. The baby looked clean. There was no blood on it. It looked like a newborn baby, Smith recalled. From what I could see, the skin and everything was intact. He said he immediately called police, who arrived within minutes. Now Smith has even more questions and theories about who the baby may have been. Memories from long ago are taking on a whole new meaning, like the time when his mom was upset when he was 7 or 8 years old, he said. All she told me was my firstborn Jennifer would have been 21 years old today. He believes the infant in the freezer could be Jennifer. If so, that would mean the infant died about 50 years ago. Who absolutely keeps their own child in a box with this for this long? Like, who does this? And he goes, I have so many thoughts. It's just insane. So that story is really fucked up. But it made me think of you.
Okay.
So if I'm not mistaken, so we lived together, almost 3 years ago now? 3 and a bit years ago?
Yeah.
And a year into that, prior to that, living together, a fish died.
Yes.
Yoshi.
Yes.
And Yoshi got placed in the freezer.
Yes.
And Yoshi remained in the freezer until we got our separate places. And you moved Yoshi into now your freezer. And Yoshi is in that freezer.
Correct.
Now, also, while we were living on Maxim, we had a hamster. And you took the hamster. The hamster died.
Yes.
And now there is a hamster and a fish frozen in your freezer.
Yes.
So the fish is on, 4 years almost? The hamster's on about a year or two?
There's another fish in there too.
So, okay, you have a fucking pet cemetery going on in your freezer. So I saw this and I laughed and I'm like, in 50 years, if there's a goddamn fish and she just keeps moving it around. So one day we'll bury them. One day we'll find the appropriate spot.
Well, I just need to know where I'll be dormant to bury them. I think that's
It's just funny because it's 2 fish and a hamster. It's not a fucking baby. This woman kept her baby. I would only imagine if you had a baby that passed away and you would be this woman.
No, but I don't know if she's doing anything wrong.
Well, she clearly didn't tell anyone that the baby died.
No, I know, but let's say, she didn't tell her son that the baby died.
So the hospital is going to let her walk away with her dead baby?
Yeah.
Or the police or anybody that would have, any kind of authority figure that would have been around because her baby Jennifer died.
Right.
Someone would have, there wouldn't have been like, yes, you can keep the baby.
Yeah, I guess I was thinking more because then if she had brought the baby home and the baby died, then technically she would have been telling anyone. But I thought maybe if she had the baby at home and no one knew she had the baby.
That's a possibility. See, think 50 years ago. It's...
And then she cleaned the baby and something happened or the baby was born dead. Then technically is she doing something wrong? She's just
fucked
not
up.
Deciding what.
Though that, you know what else this reminds me of is there's a really sad video on the internet. It's of an orca, killer whale. Okay, and I think it's on the west coast of Canada, but it's pushing its dead baby around on its nose and crying out.
Yeah,
and I believe it was something like a month or more that it was toting around its dead baby. It's fucked up. So I could I know it's a snorka, but they're some of the smartest animals on the planet. It's very similar, right? It's sad. But in the same regard, there's a fucking, I'm looking at this picture. There's a banquet beef pie lying on top of this thing. Salisbury steak pie.
Well, at least it was in a deep freezer, not in the fridge freezer.
Yeah. Yeah. But you've been eating food off a dead baby for years.
Oh, and you know what? And it really sounded like she cared too. The baby was wrapped in a blanket, didn't look, it's not, I don't think this was out of maliciousness.
No, absolutely
or
not.
She accidentally killed her child and then wanted to cover her tracks. I think the baby died in a legitimate way. And then she just couldn't bring herself to terms, to deal with it.
Yeah, so this is probably a fucked up, what was what was her plans with this baby? You know, like
And then at some point, I mean, so you're the woman whose baby accidentally dies, or you have a baby and it accidentally dies or is born dead. And then you're like, okay, I don't know what to do. I'm grieving. I can't handle it. So I'm going to carefully wrap it up, put it in the freezer because I know it won't decompost. Maybe I'm speaking from a mom's point of view. But then at some point, like, you don't want to come out and be like, okay, I'm ready to deal with this. Who do I tell that I have a dead baby in my freezer that's going to understand, right? So you just keep doing what you've been doing. It becomes, you normalize it, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it's fucked up. So this is a fucked up. I don't want this, like, this is a podcast called Foolish Canuck, so I don't want it to be all heavy all the time or anything like this. And this is a pretty heavy story. But it's like, I wonder if, like, do you think she ever, like, held the baby? Like if you're keeping it.
Oh, no. Like, I think once it went in the freezer, it stayed.
Just in there,
the only
right?
time that it ever moved was, like, in a move.
That's fucking weird.
The baby just, like because she wrapped it in the blanket and kind of, like, wrapped it in garbage bags and she almost preserved it in a way. Nothing, like, not
Good
to be.
thing the power never went out, eh?
Yeah. That's lucky.
Jesus.
But I mean, what's good too is that because, well, not good, that's not the way to put it, but I guess what will be helpful for the gentleman, like the son, is that if this baby is like his sister, if it has the same DNA and stuff as him or his mom, then it'll be a fairly simple solve and like closure, right? As opposed to like a baby all cut up in the freezer or something.
This dude's life is fucked.
Well, yeah, sure, you've got questions about
It's
your
not
mom.
going to be normal for a long time for him.
Yeah.
You find a baby in your mother's freezer.
Yeah.
That has probably been there for 50 years.
Yeah. Yeah, like the worst thing I found when my mom passed away was like her vibrator. And that was just like in the garbage.
Yeah, it's
thing.
not comparable.
No, by no means am I saying
like
that.
You didn't do that. You didn't go, oh, I found my mom's baby. It's in the garbage.
Yeah, like even if I found my mom's vibrator in the freezer, it wouldn't be comparable.
All right, so you know what? I want to go on a positive child note from that one, okay? Because that's fucking gruesome. So on this one, could have been horrible. This one could have been very problematic. Boy, 3. Fell 6 stories. Onlookers used a blanket to save him. Like, that's such quick thinking.
That's quick, like together. I don't know what the word is. But
cohesion.
Like, cohesion. Like on everyone.
And strangers too, apparently. So let's here's the story.
It's a blanket. You need people to be grabbing the right spots of that thing.
Yeah. So a 3-year-old boy who fell from the 6th floor of a building in China was saved when a crowd below caught him with a blanket. Video footage shows the child hanging off the balcony in southern city of Chongqing. He appears to try and climb back up, but his feet slip and he's holding on to the edge. There are shouts heard from spectators on the ground as the crowd forms. Several people rush towards with a blanket. Where the fuck they get a blanket? It's amazing. Anyway, it's like what you see in like like those cartoons or whatever, and they run and they go out with the blanket and they're like they catch the people, but they just go through the blanket.
That I just picture like some like very proud husband being like, "See, Mary, I told you we need the blanket today."
Call husband, really? Mary's the one who wanted the fucking blanket. Like, let's be real here. Yeah. All right. I looked up and saw a little child was dangling up there. My first reaction was to find something to catch him. I thought about rushing over there and catching him with my bare hands, but that would not have worked, Zhu Yan Hui, who works for the property management company, told CCTV. I held out the blanket along with others, all the while keeping my eyes on the child. I looked at the blanket, wondering whether it could catch him safely. My only thought was to keep him safe. Aw, nice, strange man. A group of people stood in a circle, holding the blanket and watching the boy. He then fell, plunging 6 stories, only to be caught safely. I was there at the moment and helped hold out the blanket. 10 seconds later, the boy fell. It all happened so fast. Zhu Yaobo, who also works for the property management, told CCTV reported. According to CCTV, the people who saved the boy include building residents, security guards, a sanitation worker, a neighbor who took the boy to hospital but was uninjured. Nice. Awesome.
Nice.
See? dead baby in a freezer, 3-year-old saved off a building. I like to keep it balanced here at the podcast.
Yeah, you really though swing from one end of the pendulum to the other. There's no like ease into it.
No. We're working on it, right? We're growing. We're gonna develop a system, but right now we're just figuring things out. I just think this is great. Like I don't know. Just the idea of getting a blanket, everyone came together and they're like, okay, there's no way we can get upstairs. 2 of these people are property managers, right? Or property managers. So I would assume they would have a key or access to that building or to that apartment. So I would be trying to get up there to that apartment, to the balcony to grab the kids by the wrists.
Yeah.
Right. Granted, you don't know how much time you have, but someone should be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to assume someone was. I don't know. Right.
Yeah.
We don't know. It doesn't say anything. But that would be my instinct. I would be like, I got to run from here to up there faster than that kid can hang on, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where everyone else is like, no, that kid's not going to hang on.
Right.
He's going to fall. That's some Asian, and I don't mean to be like stereotypical or it's like, it's not racist, but that's like, they're good at math. Like that's some good calculations there. That's like, okay, no, that's not feasible.
Right.
We need another option. And the fucking blanket. It's great. I loved it. I thought it was genius. Beautiful.
I'm kind of interested in the bounce. Like, did that kid bounce off that blanket?
Well, if they held it taut enough, like I would assume he wouldn't have, because as soon as he hits the blanket, you just hold your hands right up and you catch him like in a giant taco.
Right.
Or a dumpling. They're in China.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, no, that was...
Anyway, that was the good story. Where are we at here? We're almost at an hour, so we'll do one more. We will do one more, and then
I really hope that kid lives a long life.
we'll do 2 more. Just because this one's kind of funny, and it'll make you frustrated, and then we'll end on another. It won't make you frustrated. It's just funny because we fornicate. Woman turns 107 and shares her secret to longevity. I never got married. A woman who celebrated her 107th birthday on Wednesday shared her secret to living a long life. Stay single. Louise Signor, who lives in the Bronx in New York, maintains a healthy diet and exercises regularly. But she believes the real reason she's enjoyed more than a century is because she never tied the knot. If they have exercise, I do the exercise. If they have dancing, I dance. If I do a little dancing after my lunch, I play a little bingo. So I have a full day, Signor told CNN affiliates. I think the secret of 107, I never got married. I think that's the secret. My sister says, I wish I never got married. I love this old lady. I wish she was my grandma. But she never got married, so she could never be my grandma.
Yeah.
This woman's sister, who is 102 years old, is 102 years old, so longevity may just run in the family. Signor celebrated her milestone with a birthday party at the Jassa Bartlow Community Center in the Co-op City. More than 100 people attended. Jesus, good on her. Alicia Murphy, 114, currently holds the record for being the oldest living woman in the United States. Murphy lives in Harlem, New York, which is also where Signor was born. So that's like this little community of folks.
That all fornicated and made these super people.
Yeah. So she's not a looker anymore at 107.
Well, like for 107,
But she's 107.
Yeah.
And
she's not unattractive for 107.
She's, fuck dick. Or not.
Yeah,
I'm sure she probably fucked some dick. Well, not anymore. She's 107. But like,
well, you never know.
She probably had her fun, I would assume.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that. I like her philosophy. I like it. I'm happy about this old lady because it's an old lady. If it was an old man, we'd call him a pervert, right? If it was an old man, this story was about, and he's like, "Oh, my secret is I never got married," and he'd be like, "Oh, he's a misogynist. He's a pervert." But it's this old lady. We're like, "Oh, it's adorable." She didn't need a man in her life.
Nope, she just needed several.
Good on her, though. Good on her. Okay, last story for the day. This one's just a feel-good story. It was like a last-minute one that I caught yesterday. And like, this is another one that kind of like had like a, what do you call it? A triggering to my youth.
A throwback?
Yeah, there we go. It's also it's like every young person, it's every man's dream, essentially. And I'm sure there's women out there that have the dream, and transgender folk and whatever. But this is like the pinnacle dream of like a sports fan, if you will. Man throws 155-kilometer pitch. It's like a 90+ mile an hour fastball, which is like standard in the Major League Baseball.
Okay.
In viral video, and is signed with the Oakland A's. So he was at another place. Anyway, I'll read the story. It's that was for dyslexics. It's the success story aspiring pitchers dream of when they step onto the speed pitch box at a baseball game. Nathan Patterson dazzled the internet 2 weeks ago when his brother posted a video of him whipping out a fastball that hit 96 miles an hour in a speed pitch game at Coors Field while attending the Colorado Rockies game. Now he's been signed by the Oakland Athletics. Guys were just chilling at the Rockies baseball game when my brother decided to step in the speed pitch challenge. He hit 96 miles an hour, reads the tweet. In the attached video, you can see him throwing the pitch 90 miles an hour, the 94, the 94. Voices off screen egg him on to hit 96, and then the next pitch, he does, and he lands 95 and another 96 before the video ends. Christian tagged the official Major League Baseball Twitter account along with the words, "Let's get him signed." Those words came true for Patterson this month. He posted on Instagram on Thursday as he had been picked up by the Oakland Athletics. Words cannot describe this feeling, and I cannot thank everyone enough who has been part of this journey so far, Patterson wrote. In the post, he shared pictures of him signing his contract and of his new gear in an Oakland A's locker. Patterson had been a free agent pitcher trying... Oh, so he was... Okay. So I thought this story is less cool anymore because he was trying to... He's already a pitcher. Yeah. So Patterson had been a free agent pitcher trying to find a deal for months. His own Twitter has several other videos of him throwing pitches, most tagging Flat Ground app. I don't know. It's an account started by Rob Friedman, a pitching analyst, which shares aspiring and amateur pitchers' videos, as well as providing a space for pitchers to give and receive advice on their technique. So basically, okay, I don't like the story as much anymore. I should have read the whole story, but
Still
I read
a
a
cool
snippet.
thing that happened.
It is a cool thing. I'm happy for this young man. I thought it was like Rookie of the Year scenario.
Right.
You remember that movie
Yes,
from like the 90s?
I do.
This kid like fucked up his arm, and then it had like this quick twitch thing, and he could throw like 150 mile an hour fastballs or whatever. And then they signed this kid to the major leagues, and it was like every kid's dream. It's like one of the reasons that and Sandlot is why I probably started playing baseball.
Right.
But yeah, anyway, so that wasn't really I thought that was going to be a different story, Katie. So let's try this one more time. And I say that, and you guys are like listening, and you're like, what do you mean one more time? Well, I tried to do this one on another episode, and it didn't work. So we're going to try it again because I can't speak sometimes. So here we go. The terrifying reason this 5-year-old weather report is going viral. So basically, 5 years ago in France, this woman, she teamed up with this meteorological society, and they created this fake weather report on what the weather in Europe would be like in 2050, right? And so this weather report showed like everything was in orange and red, and you had 38 and 40 and 36 and 38 temperatures that are absolutely outrageous and unheard of in Europe. Just doesn't happen. Then just last week, that same woman did a weather report, and the temperatures, and so the other thing too, so 5 years ago when they did that weather report of projected temperatures in Europe, meteorologists and others like in the industry said it's kind of far-fetched.
Right.
Like temperatures will never really get that high in Europe. It'll be odd anomalies, but it won't, definitely not by 2050.
Right.
Last week, she did a weather report that if you look at them side by side are almost carbon copy. The temperatures in Europe right now are as devastating as what they projected would be for 2050. So that's what this whole thing is about. And they're like, this is scary for, what that says about, our planet and, where things are going. Anyway, that's not a very great story to end the podcast with, but I needed to get it out. And like, if you think about bitching about,
carbon taxes, or you can't use a straw unless it's made of paper or metal, or you can't use your plastic water bottle anymore. Oh, I got to use reusable bottle, or man, I got to package my water in cans like Aquaman. Just fucking suck it up. Like we all got to do a little bit better.
Yeah.
I'm included.
Mm-hmm.
And I like being outside, but if during the summertime I can only safely be outside, 3 weeks out of 3 months,
Yeah.
There's something wrong.
Yeah.
And we can all do our part and do something a little better. So I think that's a positive way to end the fucking podcast, don't you?
Bitching at people to recycle.
Bitching at people to recycle. Well, I didn't say anything about recycling because the recycling system needs to be fixed before anything else. But there's just things we can make better choices in our purchasing and our ways. Like I use, like when I take food home from work, I tend to put everything in their own separate little plastic bag that ends up being discarded.
Mm-hmm.
I need to stop doing that. I can bring in Tupperware with me to work, or I can come up with other solutions, or just use one bag for all the ingredients.
Right.
There are little things that we can all do to make a difference and, push forward in this world.
Mm-hmm.
I live in Canada. I wouldn't mind it being warmer, but sometimes it can get fucking ridiculous. We need to middle this thing out, and we all do our part. And that weather report from France is a good indication that we don't really know what the fuck we're talking about in regards to climate. So we should all just try and, be above board. And with that, anything you want to add?
No, that was fun.
That was good. It was a good time.
Yeah. I like those articles.
We'll do
Well,
it.
I mean, not like all of, like, I didn't like the baby in the freezer one, but they were interesting articles.
I get what you're saying. So that's it, guys. That's the podcast, and gals and people of whatever identification that you may have. Thanks for listening. Be sure to tune back. Visit foolishcanuck.com. And we'll talk to you next time. Much love. Bye-bye. All right. Episode number 2 in the bag. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had fun chatting with my lady friend about all these ridiculous stories. If you want to see me perform live, I'll be at Absolute Comedy in Ottawa, September 5th, emceeing. I'll be there emceeing 2 shows on the 7th. Then I'm doing a spot on the 8th and the 10th. Then I'll be doing a quick spot at Yuck Yucks in Ottawa on the 11th. Then the 12th, 13th, and 14th, I'll be emceeing at Absolute Comedy in Kingston. That's Kingston, Ontario, not Jamaica. Then back in Ottawa, I'll be at Absolute once again, the 18th, the 22nd, and the 23rd. I also have a few dates coming up in October. For all show information and whatnot, you can visit foolishcanuck.com. Also, for any of my shows at Absolute Comedy, you can visit absolutecomedy.ca for ticket information and reservations. I've said this on the last podcast. I'm going to say this on the next podcast. I'll probably say this quite a bit, but if you've never been to Absolute Comedy, I highly recommend it, whether I'm performing or not. I've performed all over Canada, and Absolute is arguably the best comedy club in the country. You got to check it out. And if you've enjoyed this podcast and you'd like to show some support, visit foolishcanuck.com. Click on the support link at the bottom of the page for all the information and ways and how you can just do just that. From tossing us a couple bucks to helping us spread the word, any and all support goes a long way and is greatly appreciated. You can also follow us on Twitter at FoolishCanuck. Find us on Facebook and all that social media stuff. The links, again, are on the website, foolishcanuck.com. And, feel free to send any questions, comments, or whatever. Remember, if you have news articles that you want us to talk about, fire them on. Go to the website, hit the contact page, and we'd love to hear from you. And one last time, thanks so much for listening. I love you, foolish fucks. We'll chat again soon. Cheers.